And the last thing is to implement this marketing study. I guess we're here to get your idea on what you guys think of a part-time staff person, maybe 5 to 10 hours a week, someone to do the legwork, not come up with new ideas, but just help, with the marketing of them, and, maybe help coordinate, do event flyers, organize the volunteers. Is it something that's needed? Would we lose volunteers if we did this?
Yeah, when we did this marketing study, one of the greatest concerns of doing this marketing study is that you do this nice marketing study and you get it in place and then don't follow through with the implementation. So that's kind of the idea of behind this discussion of the part-time staff. Is that sometimes you just need somebody there who is really out in the field making things happen. So if you have something that requires that you get out and interact with all of the businesses, this person can get out there and interact with all of the businesses. They would, I'm not exactly sure how the employment relationship would work, but essentially they take direction from the community club as our umbrella organization about what's going on within the next period of time that needs to be implemented quickly. And in my mind, this person deals a lot with events, but then, they also would likely have to deal with, they wanted to do some data collection for our website enhancement, and that's something that this person could do. And really, you need to think of this in kind of an abstract term about a person doing this, because we don't particularly have anybody in mind. So if you think this is something that Emily can just be this person, probably not. And the way she had looked at this and described it, this is kind of her suggestion about how you can, have somebody on the ground getting the legwork done and not having hopefully a whole lot of money involved with it. But she said she'd seen this successfully implemented in some other communities too, a lot of it has to do with finding the right kind of community-oriented person who can really get out and interact with specifically business owners. So the community club discussed this idea, did not make any recommendation about whether they would look to move forward or anything, but they do want some feedback from the council about, do you think this is something that's important? And then ultimately, if you think this is something that's important, is this something that the city would commit some funding to?
Well, I think it's important. I just don't know about having someone on payroll.
How about the lady that cleans City Hall?
I think I don't have enough to do yet, Jim.
Well, I think this is what I think we should do is, first we need to find out what it's going to cost us.
Yeah.
Before we can sit here and say what it's going to be. I mean, if we're talking $5,000 from the city, that's not a lot of money, I don't think, for somebody to do this. What's the community club willing to pay? Which probably isn't a whole lot, because we probably don't have enough money to pay much. But we need to get that first, and then, before we can vote for somebody, I almost got to know who they are.
It's
Because you can't hire a guy like me, it ain't going to work. It's got to be the right person.
And I think what we need from the community club is, I guess the best way to call it is a business plan of who would be one setting what direction you want to go with this individual. You don't want the individual trying to spend her time coming up with ideas. We want them to implement the ideas, from what I'm understanding. So I guess what I'd like to see is that if you have that group, whether it be 4 people, 5, I'm just throwing out numbers, put that person involved in it, and as a company, or as a city, we, I guess, do give them some seed money. Hopefully someday that run by the community club all by itself, which would be a great thing. But we need to, if we're going to spend money on that, where are we going to get the money from Do we cut a part-time person out? Do we, and I'm not just sitting here trying to say, well, I think it's great, I'm not, but I think we've got a responsibility here to, if we're gonna make money happen for this, we shouldn't just rob Peter to pay Paul, I guess. So I'm just saying that, is there any ways of cutting back that we could, with summer help, with, you know, I'm just, you know, where we think we're long or whatever, I'm not trying to, I guess I'm looking for guidance from our city manager, if that's a feasible deal. Do we think we're overstaffed in some areas or some things? Is there a place that we can be more efficient with, do more with less when it comes to our services, whether it's mowing or whatever might be the case? And like I said, I think it's a great idea to get somebody involved, and again, it's got to get to be the right person. But I just don't want to just say, okay, here's the money, and do what you want, and we don't have a plan. And I think that's important to me.
But I think really what they're just asking is, are we interested?
Basically,
Right?
that's it.
And we're not committing any funds,
No, okay.
and I'd say we are interested, at least I am. I think Whitey is, I think everybody's interested,
Yeah,
but I think we need a lot more information. before we
exactly, and I think
commit funds.
that's some of the questions that need to come back with answers with. And like I said, John and I were talking yesterday, you know, if we're not growing, we're dying. And you can go around to some of these other cities, you can see what's dying. John made a good point on that part. So again, I don't want to be part of that program either, so.
You know, one of the things I had said even before we agreed to do the marketing study is that we have to be willing to implement it. You don't approve it if we're not going to be willing to implement it. And I personally feel that the dollars spent on this person, and I agree it has to be the right person, we need to know more about what they're going to do and who's going to provide the direction and who's funding and all that type of thing. But I really think this is the pinnacle to the success of implementing those types of things. And I think, you know, we talk on the other hand about the one other aspect that's going to make it successful, and that's our volunteer base. Well, you know, I kind of speak from myself and my volunteer base, and I think about, oh my God, you know, Politics Fest and Step Example, I've done crap to get ready for those, I should be doing all these things. Well, I've been a little busy with a few other things, so, you know, I personally, in my own mind, think, you know, having this person that could just be, you know, kind of that go-to to, you know, spit out flyers or just make a couple of phone calls or do those kinds of things helps me as a volunteer out tremendously. So I actually think having a person like that available, if that's the kind of thing they could do, it would help our volunteer base, you know, tremendously, just knowing that, you know, someone that was talented and could spit out flyers like this and just, you know, knew who to contact, who to send media releases to, you know, just kind of had this system, just, it was turnkey. You know, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I think it could create a ton of efficiencies for our volunteer base, not only, you know, and then knowing who to reach for things. You know, that was part of the thing, is who to reach to volunteer for what, you know, who to ask to make cookies and for a bake sale and that kind of thing. I just think it would add tremendous value. I'd become skeptical at the hours per week just because, you know, I have my own vision about what I think they could do. But, you know, if we can match what we expect them to do with the 5 to 10 hours a week and we're comfortable with that, you know, I think it's necessary. It's not just a nice to have it, it's a real necessity as we look to taking us to the next level.
So can we put out something asking for people who might be interested? I don't know how we do that, put something in the paper. Anybody who might be interested in such a position.
Would they be a city employee, or is that still a question that we don't have
It's,
answered?
you know, it's up in the air, you know.
Well, if we don't get the insurance.
Yeah, it may be.
I think we'd be better off with being employed by the community club myself.
Can they?
I don't know if they've ever had any employees, but, you know, the quickest,
So they
easiest
donate
thing
to the
is that,
Yeah.
is that the city employs the person, but,
I would kind of have to think, you know, collectively people might have an idea, you know, about who the person might be. I
well,
don't
that's just,
know
you know,
that.
and I think, I agree with you there, that somebody's gonna have some idea about who a good candidate is, and you just kinda,
So if, like, when she writes her little article in the paper, if it says that we're considering such a person, and anybody who might be interested should contact the community club or you, or, so at least we got some names to
And
put with it.
the person might help define the role a little bit too. you
Yeah,
know?
sure.
So it might be interesting to see who might have an interest. And you probably want to set the number, I mean, you know, you get from Pelican Fest to Labor Day,
There's a lot of hours.
there's a lot of hours, you know, if you didn't have a cutoff, somebody
But it
could
take a
work.
load off volunteers, which you can never get.
Right, right.
And we're not just spring and summer place
No,
anymore,
no,
we're
no,
trying to
no.
be an all-year-round place, but, some weeks may be 20 hours a week and some may be 3, I mean, I think.
Could the community club make like maybe a laundry list and set it into like a calendar, and we can get kind of a cost of what it'll be, and
In other words, we're
it's
empty.
kind of like Whitey said, maybe the business plans we can figure out. And I don't know, maybe, like Scott sends work plans out if you gotta read, but I like reading through them to see what we got done, what we're gonna do, and then the next week looking, okay, we got this done, we didn't get that. I mean,
Well, and one of the things is there's kind of a comparative basis, and it's not exactly apples to apples, but as I understand it, the Chamber Main Street person in Sac City, which I know is a different deal, but the way her salary is funded is through community businesses, I think beyond even sort of, the community club dues and things like that. Is that kind of how it's sort of a
Yeah.
fund drive?
You have to do
They
some
have a
special
fundraising
fundraisers.
effort to keep her, who pretty much that's the extent of her job, is to basically do these types of things to keep them a chamber, to keep them on Main Street America, or whatever, I don't know the terms, whatever, but, so it might be, a fund drive, within the community club and within the community as a whole, I mean, I would certainly be willing to work any sort of fundraising event that raised money for this type of thing, so, it might be, we have to look at that aspect of it too, not just who's going to put the money on the table, but, how can we generate the money and how can we raise the funds? Because everybody benefits from the work this person's going to do.
I have put some numbers to this, as far as, assuming this person is a city employee, works 10 hours per week at $10 an hour, total cost of the person is $6,000.
You spend that in about an hour with Texoma.
Don't take it out.
They just got out of their pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly think we can find that money somewhere, if we need to. I think there's things we could say.
Part of this will-
Maybe we don't get a new police car this year. We could-
Part of this will also be hotel motel tax, for community development purposes. I know that our marketing committee's gonna have some different ideas about use of that money too, as far as actual paid advertising and website redevelopment, that type of stuff. There are some hard costs yet to come, quite a few hard costs to come. Good.
I don't think
We're
we can get
interested.
more answers for
Yeah,
you.
We're interested.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was not a no.
Yeah. We spent all that money to do it, we ought to do something besides just look at it.
Exactly.
Well, I think coming back to the value of the community club, I think this raises the value to, the next level as well. Now we can say, you join the community club and now you benefit from.
We're making headway, one step at a time.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Bob.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Brian.
Get out there and get that basement down, because it don't look like they got it done today, you're gonna have to do it.
Hey, they were pumping water, they were working hard out there today.
Just figure you're doing everything else, might as well be doing that too.
I'm sitting out the muddy hole.
Muddy, is it a little mud today, was it?
Yeah, oh, they were up to their knees in mud.
Oh, jeez.
And digging hole, they were pumping water. It was a mess. I just yelled at them behind the fence. When I needed something.
Don't come in.
Yeah, yeah.
Wipe your feet.
Yeah, the good thing is they can't get in with the back door without a key, so. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.